Our next speaker for the session is Mr. Shailendra Beniwal. Mr. Beniwal is the Vice President of Tracecost, a technology company focused on enabling companies in the construction industry to unlock and unleash value in their projects through technology coupled with industry best practices. Tracecost is a technology leader in construction management and is at the forefront of the innovation and executive paradigm. With customers across the globe, from large enterprises to small businesses at the cusp of growth, Tracecost is today the crucial and indispensable backbone to future-ready businesses in the CRIP ecosystem. Mr. Beniwal is also an author and an advisor to companies across diverse sectors. He is a revenue acceleration specialist with 22 years of executive experience in blue-chip Indian and global corporations, followed by 7 years as an entrepreneur. His focus areas include business strategy and execution, innovation in business processes, customer and partner centricity, and talent management. He has a proven record in building operational models for long-term sustainable growth and creating and leading high-performance cultures. Consulting for reigniting profitable growth, end-to-end efficiencies, and mentoring startups is his passion. Sir, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. We invite you to kindly deliver your address.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words while introducing me. Truly appreciate that. Good afternoon to each one of you. A very good afternoon to each one of you. Thank you for the opportunity. We really appreciate the opportunity, appreciate the partnership or the engagement. In fact, if I may say, under the leadership of Dr. Kashyap, we have a multifaceted engagement, if I may choose to call it partnership, with NICMAR. I can also share that one of the co-founders of the technology platform Tracecost is a NICMAR alumni. And we are very happy with this multi-dimensional engagement. Continued participation in ICCRIP is one such engagement. We're extremely happy to be here. Over the next 10 to 12 minutes, and I promise I will not take more than that, I will touch upon the practical aspects, because the theme of the congregation here is digitalization in CRIP. So I'm going to touch upon the practical aspects of why is it important and the practical aspects of how to go about implementing it. These are two things that I'm going to focus on. And I'll pick from Dr. Paul's address earlier today, where he talked about some of the challenges or the barriers, as Sir you coined them. And I'm happy to share that there are solutions available to some of those barriers today. And Tracecost, platforms like Tracecost and specifically Tracecost, does manage to mitigate some of the barriers to digitalization. If I go back some years ago, our industry was seen with two primary visualizations. Lots of people, lots of data, and we talked about data analytics earlier today. And at times, if I may say, lots of chaos. Firefighting almost on a daily basis in the offices of construction companies. And that is changing. That is changing dramatically. We, with the help of technology, the businesses that we work with or advise, they're able to manage projects on their handphone. The site engineers are able to input the data, the progress on the handphone with just 5 or 6 taps. The senior management is able to view, monitor not only just the progress, but also monitor the contract management, the document management, and the whole works through the phone. Of course, there are web interfaces which are available. But before I go forward, I think it's extremely important to touch upon why digitization or digitalization, whichever word we might want to choose, is so crucial. Each one of us in this room and outside the room, we know that technology, adoption of technology, and digitization, digitalizations are important. I dare to go forward and say it is a matter of survival. If we do not exist. And why do I say that? On your left, we see that the population of this planet is going to grow by about 5% in this decade, 20 up right till 2030. But within this space, the digital population is expected to grow by 70%, and that's a whopping number when you layer these two. If I layer our industry on it, we talk about $1.5 trillion lost on account of inefficiencies. And if inefficiencies, when I'm talking about them here, they're all internal, sir. These are nothing to do with external factors. And these inefficiencies are expected to double in 10 years. These are crazy numbers. But even if we keep percentages aside, globally, and mind you, why I use these global numbers, India is a significant part of the global ecosystem. We are after all, one of the top 5 economies in the world. And what we do in India drives the trends across the world. Out of 10 trillion construction industry net worth, which is expected to grow by 50%, layer that with the inefficiencies, and boom. If we do not adopt the technology and the digitalization here and now, survival is going to be a challenge. So in summary, $10 trillion, industry bleeds between 10 to 30% only on account of inefficiencies, which are how we manage the information within the organization. And Dr. Poonam also talked about using simulation on how we can manage the information and take decisions while mitigating the risks, ma'am. How we manage the information and how we manage the people. And our belief at Tracecost is the solution lies in simplifying. How we simplify the availability of information, the relevant information to relevant people at the relevant time, which is real-time data. And simplify the human element, because human element is a point of fracture in any organization. Moving forward, these are only the internal factors we talked about. We've just recently gone through a pandemic. We have seen a war in one part of the world. And if we talk to the industry leaders, most of them, and I'll go bottoms up, most of them talk about uncertainty. And these are external factors which certainly impact the way we work. They impact the bottom lines, which is the most crucial for survival of our industry. The productivity, the cost delays, how to manage the staff, the vendors in the new normal, especially when there's collaboration not only within the organizations, but with external stakeholders. We've got architects, we've got subcontractors, subcontractors, and so on and so forth, and they're remote workers. So how do you get the information available to the site for any plans that may have been changed so that reworks are avoided? This is a very simple example to take. So these are some unique challenges which are there in front of us. So the question to each one of us is technology the future? No, technology is not the future. Technology is here now, today. It's imperative, it's necessary, it is crucial, it's a matter of survival. When we work with customers, and we work with customers on a global footprint, and a lot of our customers, from largest to the construction companies to small and medium customers that we've enabled with our platform, they tell us that they've seen efficiencies go up by over 40%, the delays come down by about 30%, in the result adding 7% to the bottom line. These are significant numbers. $10 trillion industry, managing to add about 7% to bottom lines. We're talking real numbers here. The other element which I want to touch upon here is the safety, the site safety and the employee safety. In our part of the world, we have often relegated this to the back burner, whereas in some of the other parts of the world, one incidence of safety could wipe out a company. And this is going to get increasingly important in our part of the world as well. I'm going to touch upon how we enable this piece as well. So what does Tracecost do, or platforms like Tracecost do? Tracecost is, to put in one line, it's a comprehensive, full-featured, modular construction management platform, which is built on industry standard practices. And there's some keywords that I talked about here. Comprehensive. Comprehensive because broadly a construction cycle or a project cycle begins with conceptualization, goes to execution, commissioning, and the handovers. Tracecost works across the life cycle of the project. There are point solutions which are available. Tracecost lives through the life cycle of the project. We talked about full featured features which the largest of enterprises need or may need, to whatever the smallest of the businesses would be happy to have. They're all available. Modular, because, and I'm going to touch upon the 8 modules that we have. Businesses, large business, and the second largest company in India also uses Tracecost, all the modules. But the smaller businesses can choose one, prioritize one area to improve, implement that, then come back, take another module, plug and play. That's how modular it is. Industry best practice helps our customers optimize their workflows, because there are efficiencies or inefficiencies to look at in the workflows as well. Not everybody uses standardized workflows. And that's where Tracecost comes and plays a role. In a nutshell, we help companies build faster, reduce their costs, improve quality. And how do we do that? There are 8 modules. Each of these modules are large softwares in themselves. For example, employee health and safety that we just talked about, which is going to be extremely crucial. That itself has 11 sub-modules in it. The daily progress reporting is obviously the most important one, but how do we manage the contracts? Because those are the points where most disputes come up. So how do we mitigate the disputes by managing the contracts and their versions correctly? There's a full module for that. How do we manage the minutes of the meeting or the documentation within the organization? How do we manage the purchase cycle? How do we manage the inventories? All that is available on the platform. Even mobilizing a site to demobilizing a site, and managing the assets and the material and the resources in between, they all get covered with the platform. The plant and machinery, for example, has the machinery broken down? How much fuel it uses? I mean, down to every single detail is managed on the platform. So this is what we do as Tracecost. We are happy that we've had a good journey so far. Over 300 projects across 4 continents, over 6,000 users. Some of the names, and we work with both kind of companies, the horizontal infrastructure companies as well as the vertical infrastructure companies. There's a water dam in Mongolia. There is an expressway. So you talked about expressway here. We've managed an expressway in Ethiopia, and closer home, the shipyard at Goa. I'll be happy to take any questions. I know we are short of time, so we'll kind of rush through with it. But one request to each one of you in the room, if I may. Apart from what Tracecost does so far, we are also working on some cool, innovative technologies, and we are happy to showcase them here on campus. Around the dining area, we've set up a mixed reality portal. I invite you all to come and visit us there, see how mixed reality portal is working, and it's going to impact or possibly impact the construction industry. We also have our R&D department is working on drone technologies, the drone surveillance and mapping connected with daily progress monitoring as well as BIM. So that we have a drone here on campus which has surveyed the NICMAR campus. There are certain informations which are available. I invite you to have a look at that as well. The screens are right here outside this door. So these are 2 places I would invite you personally to come and visit, just to experience the drone mapping and how it's going to possibly impact. These are things which are under development right now, these 2 things which we are sharing, but they're going to be visible